I feel I rarely anymore pay off the thumbnail of a Monday morning show by wearing the bathrobe and the branded beanie from my streaming gear. Get a Team Zoc beanie in support, friends. Or a zini. Did we just create a new hat? Hey, everybody, it's Ken Napzok. It's a Monday morning show. This is a introspection-based podcast and vodcast. Though podcast is now synonymous with video, it's all a mess now. Try applying for podcast producer jobs, and they want you to be a film producer. Two different things. Anyways, this is the show in which I look ahead to my week and how I want to approach it. Maybe things that I'm going to be dealing with. Some of the bigger emotional things, some of the bigger challenges, some of the obstacles, and I share how maybe I'm going to approach it, and maybe it connects with you, and then maybe we do other silly things as well. We save the silly for the blathering, but we squeeze in the real world with the silly, and had a lot of fun this past week on Silly Saturdays. So if anyone was participating in that show, I appreciate you. And the buzz balls wore off pretty quickly. So if you don't know what that was, go watch the Silly Saturday edition of Blathering Live and check out the Buzzball Challenge that went down. And I passed it. Oh, maybe not so much in the moment, but later on I did. Looking ahead to my week and getting right to the point here. This show is truly introspective because I think I am, and I think we all are, right? We all maybe can't get out of our own ways, and that's something that I've experienced my entire life. And as a year of transition continues to unfold in front of me, I'm trying to analyze not only how I got here, the patterns that I maybe need to break, the things I need to be staunch and just kind of determined about, and also the things that are in front of me that are the options that I'm weighing, which one's right. And I did an episode about that a couple weeks ago that you again want to highlight. A lot of you really left some very helpful comments. The idea of faith in action, and here I am a couple weeks later. I've reunited with my dog, which was the theme of last week's episode, which was about you can't predict the future, because I didn't think I'd be in this house reuniting with my dog, but I did. But a lot of big decisions are still on me. They're on my shoulders, on my brain, on my soul, my heart, my head. They're everywhere. My lower back's hurting more because of all these big decisions. And as I try to put some of that faith into action and try to break a pattern of just like, hey, maybe things shouldn't always just come screaming up to me. Maybe I should go out to meet them, like all those things. I had a couple things go on this week, including a little bit the reuniting with my dog, which was this wonderful thing. It's still this wonderful thing. She's currently, hi, Franny. She's currently underneath the studio desk here on her bed. One of her, I think, 6 beds. I think she has 6 beds, not counting my bed, which is also her bed. This dog lives a good life. Even as we struggle, she lives a good life. But there was a lot of things that happened this week. Details aren't needed because that's my life, but I want this also to hopefully resonate with you, where as choices, come spiraling at me, and I have to go here, I have to go there, I have to go straight, I have to go back, I have to do all these things. This week, I think I was in my head too much. And I got really into my cups, as I like to say, as the saying goes, about a conversation I had here with someone who kind of helps, maybe controls a little bit of my fate going forward with some things. Job opportunities, things I applied for that I've heard back on, and all these kind of things where, because my heart and soul are a little heavy in my own life, and then you look out into the world and what's going on in Portland and Chicago, Gaza, with the flotilla heading over there. I don't want to just pass over any of that. The war in Ukraine, all those things. Can't pass over any of that. But as always, this show is less about that. We put that in other spots, because if you're not right, if you're not healthy, how are you going to help the world? That's kind of where I'm at with this show and this week. But tell me if this resonates with you here. I want to know. I want to get your thoughts. Things that, again, can't really go into details, but things that happened in my life this week. Conversations. Things that like, well, okay, am I picking up on something? Is the conversation I had here today a sign that I need to go this direction? and this kind of connects a little bit to what I was talking about last week about what do you know is the right decision. But that's part of the problem. There was some bigger things where I was like, I think I feel something inside me driving me to go this direction. Is that the right call? That was 2 weeks ago. So I went in that direction. I did some things in good faith in that direction. I got kind of motivated to go in that direction. And then this week, some things popped up and a conversation popped up that made it seem like, well, maybe I was wrong about that direction. And I don't know what I'm feeling about this thing right here, this thing in front of me that's happening right now. But 2 weeks ago, I felt that way. That way was the way to go. And I was excited to go that way, even though it was difficult. And now it's not even again about the decision. Now I'm like, oh, I think this might have been a sign. This feeling inside me, this thing I'm reacting to about some things that I experienced this week. It's undercutting that decision, but not only that, like I need to kind of process what that all meant. And there's the crux of it. This is why I'm asking if it resonates with you. Some of you might be folks that are just like fly by the seat of your pants. You're going. Doesn't mean you're not deep. Doesn't mean you have those deep thoughts, but your instincts are and your intuition are just aligned a little bit better than someone like me. So maybe this doesn't resonate. But maybe this is part of the human experience that I need to talk about today. Where I just felt maybe this meant something, right? Fill in the blank of what your thing is. But this meant something over here. And I need to figure out what that meant. Because I'm carrying something from this conversation I had. I'm carrying something from this thought. And this little thing, and this and I gotta go to a podcast and figure this out. I gotta call my friends. I gotta go on a long walk, and I gotta meditate. I gotta figure this all out. And one of the thoughts I had early in the week after some of this stuff that's happening in my life, one of the thoughts I had, and another a thought I was talking to my pal Jason about was, I don't know, maybe it isn't. Maybe sometimes when you're in a position like me where you are certainly, trying to focus on what's the best path forward for you and what are the big decisions you need to make and what is right and what is wrong. Maybe not everything is a sign. Maybe not everything is a lesson, a signpost, a billboard, a burning bush rebuking you or encouraging you or anything. Maybe this just is. Maybe this was a conversation from someone with someone who was feeling a certain way in that moment. Had their own doubts, had their own questions, had their own, what do I do here? And maybe you were picking up on that. And maybe it was just an awkward conversation, or maybe it was just something that, it was part of your week, but not part of your life. Maybe you don't need to process everything. And I think a lot of us just can't help that. A lot of us are going to do that regardless. It's our hard wiring. It's our chemicals. It's our makeup. But maybe this week going forward, I'm not going to feel the need to fill in all the blanks of the big moments and questions in my life, in my week, in my month, in my year. Insert Friends theme song, Rembrandt's. You know what I mean? And maybe I need to actually release myself from some of the deeper thoughts. And actually, I reach out to any one of you, anyone in the audience out there who you're a little bit more fly by the seat of your pants, which I am in other areas of my life, but I'm talking about the big decisions. I'm a little bit of a paralysis by analysis kind of person, kind of mind. But are you out there not so much that? What does it feel like to you? And here I am asking something deep to hopefully get an answer on how it's not always deep. But thus is the curse of human existence. But you know what I mean? Like this is kind of something that maybe plagues me, especially right now where I need to make some decisions. a couple weeks ago, I was really motivated because my job situation's tight, my living situation's unsure, and I looked ahead and I was like, well, there's kind of maybe one or two options, and I want one to happen, but the other one's not so bad. It's not my favorite thing, but you know what? It's better than the alternative of living in my car. So I came up with this idea of like, I can't lose. Why? So why be burdened by this? No matter what happens, I can't lose. Let's run with that. And I did for about 2 weeks. And then along the way, and it was a thought of victory. It was a victory thought, a breakthrough even text some people in my life. I think I understand. Let me put everything on the table right now to improve my current situation. But if that doesn't work and I have to go over here, that's not a loss either. So why am I so upset? Right? There's the instinct. There's the intuition. I felt right about that. My spirit felt full when I had this thought. I can't lose. But a little while later, human nature. That's where I'm coming to you all saying, well, what is the right answer? Let's get philosophical here. Let's go down to the holographic plane of existence and find out, is the thought I'm having real? Is the reality of my thought real? What is happening? That's kind of the thing that drags me down. Does it drag you down? Not everything's a lesson. And from that moment a couple weeks ago of, eureka, I can't lose, to I'm losing. I'm losing bad. And in fact, I think this experience I had, this conversation I had with the person that kind of had something to do with my future, my near future. Was that the shining light, the beacon, the burning bush, the voice from heaven? Was it in this thing? I think it was just a thing. And if I get tripped up on it, that's on me. It's not on God, the universe, or whatever. I've got to release myself from that. So maybe that's the test this week, is to not test yourself. Oh, we're getting meta here. Maybe it's about not testing yourself every second of the day. I had a conversation with my mother this week. It was a valuable conversation, but the idea of just like, well, maybe you need to, you're going through this season of challenge, and maybe you really need to figure out what that's telling you. And I agree with that. I think it's good advice. But when you then try to look around you and everything is everything's a mirror, everything's a reflection. The way I sip this glass, did I do that because I want to take a step in the right direction? That's why I leaned it this way. The water's kind of warm. Is that telling me that I should stay where I'm comfortable? Like that's where it kind of gets to. And those moments are fine overall, but it is truly confining. It's restricting to your thought process, to your soul. So this week, I'm just going to try to live and be engaged in the world and try to figure out my future and try to figure out the direction I want to go. But if I go outside and I step on something that hurts me and I can't finish my walk, I'm not going to worry whether or not that was God sending me a pine cone to keep me from dying up the road. I'm just going to say it's a pine cone. By the way, I can't remember the last time I've stepped on a pine cone and it hurt me and sent me back inside. But I'm trying to put examples together on the fly here. Maybe it's not a sign. Maybe it's just life. And maybe some of those big thoughts, bigger answers, bigger decisions you've already made are already in motion. They're already in motion. And something that seems like it's popped up to pull you away from that direction isn't. It's not pulling you away. It's not a lesson. You don't have to process it. Just gotta let it be. So, I guess in the words of Paul McCartney and the Beatles, we'll let it be this week. I'm just going to keep stepping in the direction that I think I'm going, or I think I need to go, or more importantly, that I want to go. And maybe you out there can do the same thing. Something weighing on you, something lingering in the back of your head that you're like, what does that mean? If it means something, you'll figure it out. If it means something truly means something to your journey, figure it out. But let's just all kind of kick the cobblestones down the road. Feeling groovy, as Simon and Garfunkel, and the 59th Street Bridge song sung by Harper's Bazaar, that version. Yes, I'm making old references. But you know what I mean? Let's just feel groovy this week. Let's go. Let's make it. We got intuition. We got instinct. We all have it. Yeah, meditate. Yeah, pray. Yeah, sometimes someone's telling you something that you need to listen to. But more often than not, I just think we're all stepping in the direction we need to step to. You don't need to process it. Right? Let me know. This is my little personal rumination, my little personal meditation that I share with all of you. So let's check back in next week. Subscribe to the YouTube channel, please, if you will. You can get stand-up clips, live shows. You can become a YouTube channel member and call on in here. Got the Blathering mailbag, in which I take a question from the audience, and I talk even more than I do now. And more likely than not, a squirrel, a blue jay, or a chihuahua shows up in the video. You don't want to miss that. If you'd like to support at Patreon at patreon.com/Napzok. Man, I'd love that. New addition to the merch tier, executive producer tier. If you're looking to maybe launch a podcast and want my kind of guidance, help, and assistance, check out the Patreon page for more. That's it for now. We're out of here. Beanie felt good again. You know, it's a little bit of comfort. Shelter? I don't know. Thanks for watching. Thanks for listening. See you next time and next week here on a Monday Morning Show.